Where do we pick things up with your character, with Pedro? And what does he sort of make of the news that his pals Blue and Jewel are kind of leaving the city and going to the Amazon?
A city bird like Pedro probably never ever thought that he would be traveling or go to the Amazon. So when Blue when they say we're going to take a trip to the Amazon, I remember the first time when I read it, I was like, Amma who? Like, we're going to the Amazon. You know, of course, it's a shock, but then there's this adventure there. So, might as well all go together, and we'll be cool together.
And I think Pedro is the most fun character in the film, I think, anyway, and great ear for talent, obviously. How much in common do you have with him?
When Carlos told me the concept for Rio 2, I adopted a lot of my my wordsmith stuff that I do on The Voice for Rio 2. Like, you know what pop is backwards? It's pop. Right, so that stuff I did on The Voice, season 1. And I thought it would be fantastic. I was like, oh my gosh, you're gonna take talent, reality singing competition shows and put it in an animated series? Get the F out of here. Yo, I'm all over this. This is gonna be freaking amazing.
Those scenes are so funny in the film as well. I really like them. And what about the pairing of the Canary and the Cardinal, Nico and Pedro? Why do you think they're a great kind of screen duo?
Yeah, so the pairing between me and Jamie, Nico and Pedro, the Canary and the Cardinal, that combination is pretty fierce. And I'm not saying it because I'm in it, but I would like to see a spin-off or a magnifying glass that really dives into that combination. Like, how did they meet? Where did they come from? Why is Pedro the way he is? Why is Nico the way he is? And why are they buddies?
And you did Hot Wings with Jamie on the first movie, of course. Did you get to work with him face-to-face at all on this one, or did it just in isolation, but it helped that you knew each other?
Oh yeah, I've known Jamie for a long time before we did Hot Wings on Rio 1. But after the success of Rio 1, and Jamie's like probably one of the best actors on earth. And the roles that he plays are so diverse. So to be able to collaborate in any field with Jamie, even if it's an animated collaboration on a song, is a real treat. And I'm blessed to have collaborated with him on the song and work with him in this film.
I think there's a lot of respect for animated movies nowadays, really prestigious voice casts. There's the Oscar category, of course. What do you think marks out Blue Sky Studios movies?
If I had to pick what studios make the best animated films, I would say Blue Skies are really probably the top. They're like in the top 3, right? Just the films that they've done, but more importantly, the detail of the artwork and how real they look sometimes. It's just so, the science behind it is crazy. So I'm a fan of, a lot of, I haven't seen a bad Blue Sky animated film.
And just finally, the music is obviously integral to the Rio movies. What is it that makes it distinctively Brazilian?
There's music all around the world, In Brazil, Sergio broke it down to me the best. He was like, Will, do you know why Brazilian music is different than Central America and American music? I was like, no. Sergio said, the Portuguese had slaves. The Spanish had slaves, and the English and French had slaves too. But the Portuguese allowed the slaves they had to keep and play the drums from wherever they took them from. The Spanish took the drums away from the slave, so they played guitar because Spanish has guitar in their culture. Same does with Portuguese. American and French don't. So when the slave masters took the drum away from the African slaves and the French slaves, Negro spirituals were introduced. And when an African from the Americas, North America, picked up an instrument, they created blues and jazz, which is not European. Central American, when they picked up the guitar, it was based around European chord progressions. Brazil was drums and European chord progression and African chant. So you have this enriched melting pot of musical influence. So when you hear Brazilian music, think of the lineage and how they incorporated Latin guitar, chord progressions, African drum rhythms, and chant. And America's Negro spiritual was no guitar, no drums. And when they finally incorporated guitar, they invented new forms of playing, which was blues, which turned into rock, which turned into jazz. And it's one of the first forms of music invented. One of the last forms of music invented, and first forms of music invented in America by Africans.
Will.I.Am, thanks very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.